What's up, y'all? Welcome to another review by Ryan, and a very happy Tuesday to all of you. It is Tuesday, March 7th, and I hope you all are doing well wherever you're at in the world at the time you find this reaction. As always, appreciate your patience while I worked on getting this released. In this reaction video, I'll be reacting to the 9th episode of Spectre Season 2, and the title of today's episode is The Silenced Children. So obviously in our previous episode, we have started a new arc in which we were introduced to Goichi, who heads a group that his former wife, that we now know is dead and was none other than killed by him, Sumi, he was running. And he actually wasn't part of Sumi's family at all. He was just a worker that was there. But because the previous head of the hotel chain saw that he had a pretty good knack for ideas and how the business could run, and that his daughter was was a natural leader and would inherit it, an arranged marriage was arranged so that Sumi and Goichi could get married. But as time went on and as children came into play, it was realized that she cared more about the business than anything else. She was not happy when the other children were trying to want to do other things with their lives, and ultimately she complicated the lives of everyone around, which ultimately led to Goichi actually contracting with an Ayakashi to end up having his wife killed. And so this brings us to the premise of today's episode, where, long story short, he has met with Kotoko and Kudo, and he now wants to set up a scheme in a way that will intentionally make his children believe that he actually was responsible for murdering his wife. And because he already can assume that the children will not believe it, which has been expressed by all parties involved, and that they would question why someone like Kotoko is here, he basically has bought in two of his eldest children, and then for the chef, for his child that's the chef, he has actually bought in the 20-year-old granddaughter who's going to serve in his place, because he won't leave working in the kitchen for something as trivial as something that no one's going to believe to start with. So that brings us to this episode, and my overall opinion is I like mystery-based stuff like this, so I'm very intrigued to see where this is going to go, and how this is going to unravel in a way that the children that are present make their own mindset up as they start thinking through theories of why he is the murderer, why is he suddenly claiming he's the murderer. And I'm interested to see how we get to whatever his final goal is, which as far as we're concerned is he knows he's guilty, he's had to live with this guilt for a while, and he doesn't want them to think that doing what he did to his wife or taking advantage of the supernatural to do these things is the right thing to do. So he's had to live with this his whole life, and now he's at a point 23 years later that enough is enough, and he has cancer, he has tumors all over, and he doesn't have a long time to live. And you know, when you are living on your deathbed, basically, a lot of times you do want to make amends with the mistakes you've made in your life, and that's basically where he's at. So I'm very interested to see how this is going to go. I'm particularly concerned with the granddaughter. I'm gonna have to go confirm the names before I start the episode, because I have kind of messed up their names already. But I'm particularly interested how the granddaughter is going to perceive this, because she, of course, has no real attachment to Sumi, and so it's going to be really interesting to see how she perceives this test that she's been bought into, because this is all over an inheritance. Whoever can come up with a suitable idea that can be accepted, that will make them believe that he did kill their wife, that he killed their mother, his kid's mother, they will get the inheritance. And so she's the one that she's the youngest person here by a long shot out of the three that is going to be quizzed and going to basically be tried, having to come up with these ideas that she doesn't even really know what that's really about, because this was just sprung on them, and it's just going to be really interesting to see how this unravels. So I'm definitely interested to see how this episode goes, and it seems that the episode did receive a bit better reception than the Tai Bakineko arc did. So this is a good sign, and we'll definitely see where we go from here. Now, I do want to talk for just a quick moment before we start the episode too about the overall rating of the show right now, and how it's being perceived both in the East and the West. So, you know, we talked about this throughout this season, and many other reactors and many other write-ups for the show talk a lot about the fact that one of the major issues for Spectre was wordiness, and that too much wordiness can kind of distract from where the show's trying to go, and especially for people that may have ADHD or people who, just that's not their type of thing. It kind of was off-putting, and it puts them off of the show. One thing that it does seem as a universal consensus between the East and the West is that this show is moving in the right direction. This is definitely a better season than season 1 was. I feel that the wordiness, while it is still bad, it is more tamed, and we do tend to stay more focused on the task at hand. Which may be of benefit to the fact, it may be a benefit to the fact that they chose to do this in segmented arcs, where every couple of episodes is one thing, and we move on to the next arc. Now, the only thing that I have to say is my biggest disagreement, and I don't know how the rest of you feel, but is my big disagreement, is the fact that I really think that the Yuki Onna arc could have been the ride out for most of this season, and I would have been perfectly fine with it, and I would have easily sat here saying, I'm very well, depending on how they wrote all that out for the rest of the season, I probably would have sat here and said that this is a 9 season, because that's just how intrigued I was with the Yuki Onna arc. Unfortunately, I now sit before most of you saying that it's probably not going to get a 9 at this point, because we are starting to get a little bit back to the wordiness again. And it's not a problem to me, because I do like that type of stuff. But the initial excitement that I really had during and post Yuki Onna mural art, I don't 100% have anymore, but I am still intrigued enough, and I do still think that the story writing is better than it was before. And as far as the rating is concerned for the show, the first season per Mal had a 6.91, and since the Yuki Onna arc ended, the second season has been pretty consistently sitting at a 7.50. So, most people are giving between 7 and 8s, and I do think that's more or less appropriate given where we're at. My rating is definitely more closer to an 8 right now, but we're going to see. This is a very intriguing point we're about to hit with this particular part of this arc, and we'll see where we go from this point. So with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and get the episode pulled up. It'll be a split second for you guys, and when I come back, we'll get this reaction started. All right, guys, I am back, and we're gonna go ahead and start this reaction to episode 9 of Spectre season 2. Again, the title of the episode is The Silenced Children, and as a confirmation of the names, the people who will be at play at primary head of this episode is going to be Susumu, Koya, who are the 2 children of Goichi, and then the grandchild, Leon. So let's go ahead and get this started in 3, 2, 1. See, and I just said that. She's probably sort of like, what the hell am I here for? Yeah, it's just baffling that he came out of nowhere with this. Oh wow, he's giving her the same option he was able to get himself after their mom passed, which is you can do what you want if you get the inheritance. I wonder if she's going to be the one to actually come up with the legitimate answer to this that everyone will believe. Even if the answer is based off a lie, especially with Kotoko being involved with this, so. Anika's just sitting in the back like, my time is coming again. I'm not done with y'all yet. Mm-hmm. Like, this is just so baffling. Underdressed. It does just have to be like, really, how does our dad even know you? Mm. Of course, they tried to find out more about her. Mm. Of course, he told him that. I'm so done with this girl. This man's like, girl, that's not what we're here for. I mean, it all comes down to the fact that of accepting if they actually really think he killed anyone to begin with. Like, it's just such a tall tale. So I leave. This is like a court hearing, and she's just excusing them to their room to figure things out in deliberation. You never know with her. All right. So there's just gonna be a whole nother vendetta altogether. Yeah, that's all it is. Hey, that's family for you. Mm. It seems like a pretty simple way to resolve this. Yeah, no one's really here to fight. And he's made his point very clear with his wife. No, and that's always the assign, especially when Kotoko is involved. Because y'all probably wouldn't believe anything he just outright says, which is the point of all this. Yeah, that's all it comes down to. Because of his power and authority. Now, of course, we know that this is one theory that she's making up here, but it's a suitable one. It could be. And you wouldn't because it was Ayakashi that was involved. All right. I do like how this went from the three of them making their own ideas up to basically Kodako having to explain all this anyway, even if it's all a lie or truth, however you want to perceive it. Right. Damn, she was threatening her children's business. Yeah. That's sibling difference for you. What's she thinking? Again, I've been kind of eyeing her out to see what she wants to say. And being she's the youngest person here, she can always, younger people always tend to have a fresher mindset. I get told that all the time, so we'll see. Yeah, because the only way she can. And that is another possibility. And he's sweating a little. Not a damn bit. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. So they were planning to kill. So they were complicit. They wanted out. Right, because they just conspired. They never actually got to execution because the chairman was already ahead. Damn. And since they're agreeing, I can't even say that any of this is a lie. Or maybe this is because they just were told to go make up a theory. I guess never know what to really trust here. Either way, their mom was doomed. I don't even know if it's that deep, though. She's sitting there smiling, bro. I have to remind myself also that she can also communicate with the other spirits to confirm certain bits of information. So, yeah, okay, so now that is just a whole lie. Or did it come from the Ayakashi? I mean, that's possible too, but doubtful. Okay, so he was also plotting. So they were all plotting. All the children were plotting. They wanted her dead, and it makes sense. Damn, she messed that leg up. I mean, yes, but again, it's really just meant for his own crime since the man is on his deathbed. Yeah. All right. Which is bringing us back to what we were supposed to be at. Just for some fun. Because she gets off at that shit. And I'm sure you fucking know that answer too already, because you've probably already done your investigation. So, alright, so this episode was actually sidetracking us a bit to focus on them admitting their own crimes, which, you kind of have your suspicion, because parents who push their will on a kid that they don't want to deal with long enough to the point of basically trapping them in their own family's dramas and business or whatever the situation is, it can become vindictive, and it can lead to animosity, and it can and has led to people wanting to remove their parents or the subject of issue from the equation. So that makes sense. I mean, everything unraveled in a way more or less that I could only anticipate it would. But Iana's just sitting there like, what the hell is going on here anymore? She's like, man, this inheritance ain't worth it, and neither is this discussion now. Okay, so again, I just talked about it, and I'll just, just touch base again as I was saying in the credits. So obviously, we now know that there were multiple schemes at play to kill their mother, which just so happened to align on the same night. Obviously, Leon did not believe that any of these things were actually transpiring, and of course, as the granddaughter, she would be the least in tune to any of the events that happened. And in this assignment, they just kind of get thrusted on all three of them. But, as Kodako said, before we could get to the point of actually answering the question, they thought that this was basically retribution for them making their own plans, in the case of Koya and his wife, who is the daughter of the chairman, and then Susumu, who was jealous of his brother, that they had always gotten fights about the fact that he walked away from his responsibilities, but were also scheming in their own way to be able to get back at their mother for everything that transpired. And it was just kind of one of those situations where this was a textbook case of if you push a child too far and too deep into a place they don't wish to be, it's going to lead to jealousy, it's going to lead to animosity, and in a worst case situation, it can lead to a family member trying to cause physical harm to another family member. Now, it just so happened that in their cases, in both of the brothers' cases, that and the sister's case, that they were already scheming, but the father was already going to take action because he was stressed about what she had done overall to the entire family, prioritizing this entire company over their well-being. And, like I said last week, it comes down to the fact that there probably was not a great amount of love, because the fact that Goichi and Sumi had gotten together was it was an arranged marriage because it would be in the best interest of the business. And so this is just, again, a textbook situation of pushing your will on your kids when your kids have not even developed. They may have other things that they want to do in life, and when you push your ill will on these children that you're supposed to love and cherish and also want to support their own goals and dreams and ideas on, well, you kind of get what you get. I don't support murder whatsoever, and so again, I'm not one to say that she should have died or not for the things that she put her family through, but as we can see, there's a lot of complicated feelings that are going on in this family, and obviously the revelations have been a lot on Eon, and and then with as far as the chairman is concerned, I think that he really was just more so focused on himself more than anything. He probably had his suspicions of his own, but he's really just trying to make peace, because any of us, once you hit your deathbed, I think every human being, no matter what they did in life, kind of goes through that motion and that sentiment that I need to make peace with my enemies. I need to make peace with my past and the things that I've done. And so in their case, this case came up that now they're just sitting here like, well, we're just going to come out, and Kodako, like the troll she is just like, yeah, I just said all this shit just to get y'all all riled up a little bit. I didn't tell y'all to tell me all this, but here we are. So cool. Y'all all wanted to murder her. Now, can we get back to the question at hand? And again, I really like Leon calling Kodako out, because Kodako does need to be called out sometimes, because she's an absolute ass. And we know that when she put someone on the spot and she has to make her point, and in the case, the point that she's trying to make about the chairman, of course, as her being the youngest and also the one less prone to suspecting these type of things because she wasn't involved back then, it makes sense that Young was going to really fight that back and argue that back and be the one to call Kotoko out over the other more seasoned veterans in the room. So overall, I thought this was a good episode, and I agree that it was probably best to get this out the way. I kind of had a feeling more or less that that's how it was going to unravel. So I, of course, am interested to see. I'm going to assume that next week's episode will be the wrap up for this particular arc. Now that they have bared their sins out for everybody to see, and we'll definitely see how this whole inheritance arc comes to a conclusion. So definitely let me know what you guys think, though. Very interested to see how you were feeling about this arc so up to this point and the revelations of this episode. And of course, for those of you who think everything was too wordy, do you think it was too wordy? And I do want to say one more thing on the wordiness thing. This show is of such a premise that there's really no way around it being wordy. Like, if it was to suddenly go from fully explaining the narratives behind people's motives and the things that they did, if they didn't do that and they suddenly kind of skimmed past things, then I think that it would actually have an exact opposite effect on the show. I'm gonna be dead serious with you guys. I think it just comes down to the fact that a lot of people think Kotoko's a complete ass. Like, there's nothing to do with her being right or wrong or fair or not fair. It's just the fact that she's always an arrogant little shithead about a lot of the things that she says out of her mouth, even though she might be either right or she may say something that is intentionally a lie, but it's enough to get people moving in the direction they need to move. And I get it completely that there's a lot of things she does, from how she acts with Kuro to how she responds in general to instances like this, that many of you just get off-put by it. But I do try to focus on the bigger picture, and that's probably why, more or less, I'm not as aggressive against Kotoko as other people in the community are. Because, again, I've been in many of these forums that talk about the show, and a lot of people said that, honestly, if she just removed herself half the time and wasn't always acting like an ass, that they would actually be able to tolerate the show a lot better. But, that's just the type of show it is, and you win some or you lose some with a show and a premise such as what we have in Spectre. So, but that's my thoughts. So, again, let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys did like the reaction, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. And if you want to be one of the first to be notified when a new reaction becomes available, hit the bell icon. So I will see all of you in the next episode, episode 10. Now, this is a 12-episode show, so we are now in the last last third of the season now. So, or fourth. No, it is third. No, it's fourth. I don't fucking know anymore. It's late and I'm tired. It's been a long day. But I will see all of you in the 10th episode of Spectre Season 2. And until the next reaction, catch you later.